Hello, my friends. Welcome to part two of Eat Worms. Last time we talked about eat. This time we're going to talk about worms. It's a simple acronym, helps you to analyze a rapid in a little bit greater detail than eat does. So the components are water, obstacles, run, markers, safety. So we'll talk about each one of those in our turn. Now, some of you are used to looking at water already. You might be able to look at this picture and notice that, oh, yeah, the water's flowing a little bit this way and it's going a little bit this way over here. All right, I have those general kind of flows marked for you with these arrows. Watching which way the water moves is the essence of being a raft guide. It's called reading water. It's the most important skill that a raft guide has, and it's something that you develop slowly over time as you go. You want to know which way the water is going because it's a conveyor belt. As long as you're sitting on it, it's going to take you there. Adjusting angles can help you get from one current to another current, and it can also change your motion relative to the current. So if I'm coming through here with a little bit of right angle, boom, I'm going to get sucked onto this current here, okay? That is the basics for water. For obstacles, this guy's pretty obvious. Obstacles are what make river running interesting. So, for example, we have the bank and all of these little rocks. Something I'd like to focus on a little more closely is identifying the obstacles. You want to think about large hydraulics. So, for example, maybe there's a big sticky hole or some sort of large waterfall, something you don't want to go over. But even something as simple as this structure right here, okay, we call those eddies. You can see a V-like structure of the water flowing around the rock on both sides. You can just barely see the rock under the surface there, creating that little eddy. As we bring our little raft through, all right, this guy is actually an obstacle, not something that we normally think about. All right, but if you wanted to go this way, you need to be mindful that you cross that eddy line with some speed, with some force. Why? Because this guy is current coming this way. It wants to deflect you, change your angle. You'll end up sideways, getting stuck on this rock right here. If your bow gets too big a piece of the eddy, maybe you grab a hold of the rock or your bow is totally in the flat water. All of that flow is going to keep hitting the back of the boat here, and it's going to actually turn you to the left. That could lead to a broach pin scenario here. Just something to think about. The slack water behind an eddy right there, that will turn you. Okay. And those little eddy lines coming off the side, they like to repel you. Okay. So those are our obstacles that we're looking for. With our run, we're imagining the easiest path that we might be able to take. Okay. That is the whole eat scenario put together. We are navigating with the water in between the obstacles, finding the path of least resistance. Okay. When you're making your run, when you're coming up with the plan of how you're going to run the rapid, you want to come up with markers. Just like driving directions, you might think, I'm going to turn left at the big house with the yellow sign. Okay, we want to have right angle after the big squeeze. Well, here's our big squeeze. That's pretty obvious, hard to miss. So I'm going to come through that guy and I'm going to immediately get some right hand angle. Okay, then my next marker, I'm thinking, oh, there's an island rock. I want my left angle as I come around the island rock. So my right angle is going to take me to this side of the island rock. Once I'm on this side of the island rock, I'm going to go ahead and change my angle at that marker, and I should be able to float all the way back over to the other side of the river without too much difficulty. Okay, making markers. When you're looking at the rapid from the bank, when you're looking at the rapid from above, it's going to look different than when you're down in it. Okay, so be very careful to take good, accurate markers, thinking when you're going to make your move, what is going to let me know that it's time to make my move. Okay, so that's markers. Now, with safety, safety, we have all sorts of safety procedures at Rocky Mountain. Must catch eddies. Okay, if the eddy is not filled, then you need to fill it. Okay, let's pretend that this was, let's say, donk ball, a rapid where pins like to happen regularly and a fair bit of carnage goes on. And let's pretend for a moment that we had a safety eddy as convenient as this one. Obviously, our safety eddy is at the end of donk ball. But in this scenario here, your rope is going to be placed here Because the likely scenarios are a stick here or a brooch pin here, possibly even a brooch pin there. Those are your likely scenarios. So you're going to think, what's the most likely thing to go wrong? All right. And then you want to position yourself where you can actually assist in all possible situations. So perhaps we have a rope set. That means you're standing on the bank with your rope out in your hand and you are ready to throw at a moment's notice. That is holding a rope. And then we have a chase boat in this eddy right here, like for example at the bottom of Hell's Corner, where you can chase after swimmers that are missed by the rope. So just some important things to review. Eat, we have entrance, angle, timing. And then with our water reading skills, worms, we think about the water, where it's going. We think about the obstacles we're trying to avoid. We think about the run we'll take to avoid those obstacles. We think about the markers that we'll use to know where we are when we're in the rapid. And we think about safety considerations, such as where we might want to stand, what ropes we might want to place where, and if a chase boat makes sense in that scenario. Thank you for listening, and that is our river reading section.